It's the energy transition, which is not only the hard-to-abate sectors, it's in general the move from a more fossil-driven energy system into electric energy system. And there we obviously contribute with our products and systems, which gives us energy savings between 20 and 40 or even 50%. So that's one angle. The other one is all linked to new technologies around automation and robotics, because we are a world-leading company in both areas. And that has to do with the reshoring, bringing things closer home again, where the markets are, but also in some countries dealing with the demographics. Because we have less and less people working in the working age, and therefore robotics and the automation becomes very important. And the last one is AI, which will revolutionize, obviously, all what's related to automation in the future.
Well, talk to us more about what you think is the best way to try to scale manufacturing when it comes to the EV charging space.
I think what we really need on the e-mobility side, let me put it this way, is really work on two fronts. One is the technical side on the charging side, but the other one is also on the user friendliness side, so that they become actually more reliable, they are much more modern. On the manufacturing side, I think we have had clearly in some countries and regions, there was some scarcity of manufacturing capacity, which I think has been solved, was not an issue for ABB in that sense, but it's the product evolution which is very key. Now, on the other side, I think one should not forget that the whole network of electrification needs to be up to speed. You cannot just actually consume much more energy. You also need to build the transmission lines, that the power actually comes in where we have got, let's say, the chargers installed, either for private passenger cars or for buses, ships, trains, whatever you want to call it. So I think we need much more infrastructure investments on the one side in really to actually get the EV charging and the passenger cars based on electrification much more developed in the future.
Peter, who are some of your bigger customers that you're working with these days?
We are here in the United States, so we have all kind of manufacturing companies in that sense. But on the industrial side, any company you can think of, they are in manufacturing space, for example, they use our electrification products, they use our automation products. So you have all the industrial companies, and that's where we make the difference. On the other side, utilities are very key. As I just said, they need to make sure we have enough supply.
And I know I'm just looking at our PGEO function where I can see where your revenue comes by geography. You're everywhere. A third in Europe, a third in, you're truly a global company. So do you see certain parts of the world that are more in front of, kind of making the transition than some others?
Yeah, I think I would say that Europe has started this rather early, with the new Green Deal in Europe, but also moving into a very different energy systems. Paid some price with the wars in Russia, so energy prices have gone up, and some rethinking has taken place. I think here in the US, you quite clearly see the demand is there in all industries, now supported by the various acts you have. Here, either the Inflation Act or then also the Industrial Act, and that is driving investments now. It's much earlier days than in Europe, for example. Asia is a little bit a mixed bag, I have to say. So you see some countries at the leading edge, like smaller countries like Singapore. In China, which is our second biggest market after the US, you see actually a lot of efforts now being put in place to change the electric system in China. A lot of EV cars are coming in, and you can see that those really are now generating the growth in China, whilst it is subdued compared to the US at this stage. So indeed, we are operating across the world in more than 100 countries. We get good insights. At the moment, the driving forces are really the US and Europe, with, let's say, Asia, apart from India, are lacking somewhat.
So where else do you go to expand from here when you already are in so many places?
It's quite clearly US is our key #1 market, and that's where we are developing. We have over the last 10 years, we have put more than $14 billion into the US in terms of investments. We have got 40 manufacturing sites in 20 states. We're operating in all states with our services, etc. So that's a key market. We see the electrification market in the US as key, but also the industrial one, which has a lot to do with bringing home, let's say, manufacturing capabilities and capacity. And then the second one is clearly India, which at the moment is, in terms of growth, outstripping all other countries in a big way. They are very low in manufacturing capacity, and that's where a lot of investments now for the high-end manufacturing goes in. And then the third one would be Europe, quite clearly, as the European change in the energy system, but also the demographic issues which we have in Europe, which will take out, 50 million kind of working people over the next 10 years, and that needs to be replaced by automation and robotics. So there's a lot of investments ongoing there.